All right. Hopefully everybody can hear. I'm doing a quick sound check here on my device over here. Take just a second. Hopefully everybody can hear. I'm doing a quick sound check here. Turn the music up just a little here so we can hear some background music. There we go. All right. Hello, everyone. It's Alex yet again, and welcome to a very long overdue coding session with yours truly. I made one of these about a month ago, I want to say, and it's been a while. I've been really busy teaching the folks over with Code Black, with Dave, doing things, and yeah, just really working. We'll be starting a new class on Monday. Another cohort has started. Starts on April 2nd, I believe. And and today we were looking out with Patrick as he was teaching people how to create their own websites using HTML and CSS. So we've been doing a lot of things. Been out of town, doing all kind of stuff. So today we are going to do, as always, like, comment, share, subscribe. And then also what you want to do is go over to the Facebook page for Code Black Tech. Join there. Sign up at codebblacktech.com. Sign up there and become a partner and a member and help us join in darkening the technology field. So tonight, again, like I said, I'm going to be going over RESTful web services here. I want to make sure I'm sharing the right camera here. The RESTful web services, and we're going to talk about using Postman. Big Mike. Here we go. No, there will be no entity framework tonight, Michael. Entity framework is a bad word. Bad word. Entity framework. No entity framework. That's a bad word. So, we're going to be using Dapper for our ORM tonight, as we always do. And we're going to create a RESTful API, interact that with Dapper, with a database, make sure that we're getting information back, and then we're going to test our API using a tool called Postman where you can test your API. What does an API stand for? I've gone over this before in previous videos, but API stands for Application Programming Interface. It's just a way for two pieces of software and computers to talk to one another in a language that they can understand and that you can read. Excuse me. So there are multiple APIs that are out there. The two most commonly used APIs are SOAP API calls. They've been around for a long time. I think that's Simple Object Access Protocol. I think, if I remember my acronyms right. It's XML based, but it's kind of going the way of the earth. And it's gone kind of, there's still some APIs out there, obviously, that are XML based, but they're SOAP APIs. The other one that we're going to talk about today is called RESTful API. And a RESTful API is basically a Java standard object notation or JSON string collapsed into a bunch of into kind of like a tree in a way. It's kind of a hard way to explain that. Once we kind of look at it, you'll kind of understand what I'm talking about. It's just a way to organize the data coming to and from you. So let's get cracking here. So first, what we're going to do is we're going to pull up our desktop here. You see my lovely family here. Um, and we're going to go ahead and open up our Visual Studio 2022. You can go over and download the latest version of Visual Studio now. Community 2022 is out there. It is on the .NET 6 framework, if I'm not mistaken. You can still download 2019. It's still supported. But if you're going to run the latest and greatest, you want to go and download 2022. That's one thing we're going to open up. The other thing we're going to open up is obviously our SQL Server Management Studio. And we've got a SQL Server that we have that is running local to our machine that we're going to utilize here tonight. And then also what we're going to do is we're going to go over to postman.com. Let's see if I've got that link up somewhere. We'll go to Postman. And you want to go over to Postman API platform, and you can just download it for Windows. So you come over to product, and it tells you what Postman is. It's just a way to test APIs. It's really slick when you use it. So you can come over and you can just download it for free over here. So, all right. So we're gonna do that, and I've already downloaded Postman, so I'm not gonna go through that right now. So we're gonna use that. We're going to use Visual Studio, and we're going to use SQL Server Management Studio. Okay. So I have a Azure server that I'm using for my SQL. And actually, let me close this one. I'm going to use my local one here. Close. Disconnect. I'm actually going to use a different one here. Use my local one here. Okay. Because we're doing everything local tonight. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to create a... Well, I guess we actually have a couple of tables over here that we could already use, actually. So let's write some SQL. Let's just write some quick SQL here real quick. So we've got our pubs database that we have. That is just a sample database. It's like, is it Northwinds? I think it's either Northwinds or Adventure. I think it's Northwinds database. So we have a couple of tables, a few tables over here that we can query. And so what we're going to do is we're going to query, let's write a query. So let's say new query. And we're going to use the pubs database. So we'll say use pubs. And that gives us our IntelliSense support right there. And then we're going to just do a really quick SQL statement here. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to join what's in this authors table to a couple of other tables. So let's select and see what's in this authors table. So select top 10 star from authors. And you see we've got an author ID. We've got a name, first name, last name, phone number, address, all that good stuff in there. Okay. Really doesn't tell us much. But authors, obviously, they write books. So let's go look at the published works here. And so we have title author. So we can say select top 10 from title author. Just run this one query. So this first AU ID or author ID has this book right here. So we can do a really quick join on this. Let's see, top 10. And the ones that we want is we want to get the information that we need to join on our authors table to our title author table, and then to our titles table. So, and the reason why we're going to do that, if we do select top 10 from titles, you'll see that the key to get the title of the book that we're looking for is in the titles table. So here's the title ID, which is the key for this titles table. And we have, if we look again at this one here, to get the book, or to get the author of that title, we have to join on our author ID table, or author table. And that's here. And here's our author ID. So let's just really quick do it here. So we're going to take, and the information that I want is, I want the first name and the last name of the author. So let's do AU. Let's get rid of our top here. AU, F name as first name. AU, L name as last name. We're going to need their book. So let's find out the book title. We're going to find out what the book title is in here. So we're going to say title, and it'll show red there because there's no title column in my authors table. And let's get the price of the book. Okay. Let's see what else we've got in this author table here. Anything? No, nothing in there that we're going to really need. So now let's join first on our title author table. We're going to do an inner join. And we have to give it an alias because the column name is the same in both. And so we're going to have to say, we're going to call this TA. We're going to call this A. And we're going to say on TA dot author ID equals A dot author ID. And then we're also going to join on the titles. And we're going to call this TI on TA dot title ID equals TI dot title ID. Okay. Let's get rid of this. Let's do a little bit of indentation here. Let's run our query. And now we've got all of the books and the authors who wrote said books. Okay. And we see that this person, Albert and Annie Ringer, they co-wrote a book and stuff like that. So we've got information that we need here, and it's unique by first and last name. Okay, so we've created a quick query, and now what we need to do is we're going to have to take this query and we're going to have to take this query and we're going to have to kind of duplicate this query over in our C# solution. Okay. Now we could create a stored procedure for this, which would be fine. But in the instance of this video, or for the sake of time, I'm not going to do that right now. Now, let me do this too. Price is okay. Title. Let me camel case this first name, last name like this, just for consistency. Okay. Now, and let's actually let's call this book price. Book price. Like this, right? All right. So this gives us what we want to create as our model. We have a first name. we have a last name field, we have title, and we have book price. That's what we're going to return in our API. Okay. And then let's order this. Let's order it by author. Actually, let's order it by book price. By most expensive to least expensive first. Okay. So we see down here, we've got the most expensive book at the top. And we actually have a book that is a null. So let's put, we don't want books that are free. So let's say where book price is not null. Just say 5. So now that null should not be in there. Okay. So we've got a query here. Okay. Now we need to create a model for our query. And to do that, we're going to have to create a new API. So let's come over here to our Visual Studio 2022. And that's going to launch. And then to speed up the process of getting the connection string for my table here, what I need to do is, and you would not do it this way, okay? This is just for the sake of this demonstration. I'm going to repeat this. Connection strings are keys to your data. You do not want to have these out in the open, okay? So what I'm about to do is not commonplace. Usually you encrypt the key, the connection string, or you access it a different way. Sometimes it's in a computer's registry, or it's in a environment variable on your computer somewhere where it's more secure. In environment variables aren't the most secure place, but you know, it's somewhere where it's not in your code, right? But in this instance, since this code only runs on my machine, I'm just going to go ahead and publish it. All right, so we're going to say new project. And we're going to come down here and we're going to look for not desktop apps, but we're going to look for web apps. And we're going to create an ASP.NET Core web app right here. Say next. All right, I'm going to put this in my repo folder. So this code will be on my repo folder here. So I got to determine where I want to put this. So I'll put this in my Code Black Learning here. I really want to put it in. I'll put it in the Live Sessions folder. We'll select that, and we're going to call this one Postman API stuff, something like that. Say next. You're going to choose, because you're looking at 2022, you're going to choose the .NET 6.0 framework. Okay. Now, if you click this down arrow, any frameworks that are installed on your computer, you'll have access to. But we're going to do 6.0. Okay. Just say create. And the cool thing about it is Microsoft has done a really great job here after a very slow start, because they weren't playing nice with everybody in the sandbox, of creating really great templated solutions that you can start kind of right out of the gate. Okay. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to show all files here. So this API will run right out of the gate. If I click start here, it'll start an IIS server on my machine. It'll ask you when you use SSL, so just no right now. And it will bring up a web page for me, and I just say advanced and say accept. And here's an API right here. Okay. Um, did I do it that right? Okay. So now what we're going to do, we're going to reference another page here, and we're going to create a web API. Did I do that right? Let me go back. Let me look at this new project. No, I didn't. Okay, forget what I said there for a minute here. Let me close the solution. I created a web app, not a web API. An application is different from an API. Okay, I'll tell you about that in just a second. That's my snafu. I wasn't paying attention. Okay, so I need to scroll down and do this one right here. Say next. We're going to call this Postman Web API. And before we do that, let's go over to our folder that we were just at. There. There it is. This one right here. I probably won't be able to delete it. All right, good. Okay. All right, so we're going to call this Postman Web API. Say next. Again, .NET 6.0. Uncheck the use controllers. Okay. And we're going to leave everything else the same. Say create. It's rather embarrassing. And come up here, just say click, show all files here. And now when I launch this, this should launch a Swagger. Say no here again. It should launch a Swagger page where you can see, say advanced and accept the risk again. There we go. So now this is a Swagger page where we can actually try to launch and access our API. Okay, so we can say try it out, and I can say execute, and you can see it gives me information back here. Okay, so let me kind of break down what we're looking at here. Let me make this a little bit bigger here. Okay, so JSON is basically JavaScript object notation where things are in this kind of format. It's kind of the way that JavaScript shares data, right? And it's very easy to read and very organized. And so what you can do when you're making a RESTful web service, they always, use JSON. Well, I should say always. The common thing to do when you're doing a RESTful API is to use JSON. Ooh, we had a frog there. Excuse me. JSON. And so it's just a way to organize your data. So I talked earlier about models. And all your model is just the format of your data that you're going to send back in your API. In this particular model, we have a date, a temperature, a summary, and a temperature Celsius, and a temperature in Fahrenheit, and of course a summary. If you come down here, that's what you see down here. Now, this schema, it would correspond with the database table and the format of the table. Okay, so what we're going to do is, I can close this now, is we're going to make sure that we're able to connect to our database. Again, this is all local here. So I'm going to say file, view, SQL Server, Object Explorer. Is that the right one that I use? Okay, there we go. And over here you see that I have a couple of SQL servers running here. There's this local DB here. My DB is called desktop blah blah blah. So that's the one that I need to connect to. So if I come, I say add SQL Server. I say local, and it's right here. And it uses Windows authentication. I can say connect. Here's my connection string down here. And this is what we were trying to get to here. Copy that. And if I expand this out, I can see my pubs database in here and stuff like that. Okay. And I can actually come into this pubs database and I can say new query. And I can come over to here, copy my query over here, paste it, and then run this, and I should get the same information back that I got before, right? Okay, Cheryl Kirk casing is the first one, and then you see that there. Okay, so now I'm actually, my Visual Studio is connected to my SQL Server. Okay, I don't need to keep this up. Oh, here, let me do this though, because I need the connection string is what I need. So I can close this, and when I click here, here's my connection string down here. I just come in here and copy this. Just put it in a notepad document here. Real quick, boom, here's my connection string. Okay, so, and again, you'll get a connection string professionally. You'll get it differently. You know, you should not see a connection string in the open. Okay. All right. So I can close that now because that's just a welcome window. I'll just minimize this. So let's go about adding Dapper to our stuff here. Okay. And to do that, on the project over here, and this is Visual Studio 2022 again. Oh, hold on one second here. Yes, ma'am. Open the door, baby. Huh? Yes, baby, you can have a popsicle. One of your popsicles. Don't eat mommy's. Okay. So, you're going to come up here to Tools, go to your NuGet Package console, or NuGet Package Manager. Say Manage NuGet Packages for Solution. Click that. We are going to need this Swashbuckle API. No, we're not going to need that yet. We're going to need that yet. Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and download that. Okay. And actually, it's already installed. We have an update to that package, however, so let's just install the update. Let NuGet do its thing. Say okay. Yep. All right, now we're going to browse our NuGet packages, and we're actually looking for Dapper. There it is right there. I'm going to click this and say install. Say okay. So what that's going to do, it's going to create a dependency into Dapper. From Dapper. It's because it's down onto the package there. And then when you look down here, it'll download a couple of other dependencies there as well. And then we're going to also need some SQL dependencies. So Microsoft. We're going to need a SQL client, I believe. Right there. And then we're also going to need, yep, and so it installs all of these different packages there. Okay. I believe that's all I will need right here. So what we're next going to do is we can come into our solution here. We're going to right click and add a folder. We're going to call it models. We'll call it data models. Okay. Excuse me. This is where we're going to relate our server data side to our server side code. Okay. This is where our application layer is going to interact with our data layer. Okay. Now again, like I said over here, we have a first name field, we have a last name field, we have a title, and we have a price. We need to know what types of fields those are in our data. Now, if you hover over those, the price is a money field. And if you're ever wondering, in you know, do they equate to one another? They kind of do and don't. There's a nice little cheat sheet over here that you can look for. So you can say, go to Google and just say .NET or C sharp to SQL data types. And there's a nice list that Microsoft has made for you here. Yeah, right here. And so you can see that in SQL, a big int, which is a very large number, corresponds to a 64-bit integer in .NET. We call those longs. Okay. And then strings are varchars and so on and so forth. Okay. So then what we need to do is we need to say, okay, that's a varchar. We know that's a varchar. We know the title is going to be a string, a varchar, and the price is a money. So money, if you come down here, corresponds to a decimal data type in C sharp, or .NET, I should say. So what we've got is we've got 4 columns in our table that we need to create a model for. So in our data models folder, right click on the folder and say add class. And we're just going to call it author model. Something like that. Okay. All right. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to create our columns. So we can actually just do something like this. Just copy this, say this, and just that gives us our column names here, right here. Okay. Now, Visual Studio and other IDEs give you the ability to shorten the amount of time that you need to work on things. Okay. I need to create 4 properties called first name, one called last name, one called title, and one called book price. Let me make this bigger here so you can see that. Okay. Now, I can come in here and I can type out the property, or I can use what's called a code snippet in my IDE in Visual Studio. If I type the word prop, you get all of these little snippets here, and all I need to do is just hit tab a couple of times and it fills it out for me, right? Then what I do is I just come down here and I specify the data type that I need, which is a string. Hit tab a couple of times and I give it the name. Now, it's common practice that your variable names in C# start with capital letters. So I'm going to say first name, like that. Tab a couple of times, enter. There we go. And now you see this next line automatically pops up, and you see that it's automatically started to put my information in there. So I can hit tab, and boom, it's done the next thing I've done here. So I just created 2 properties in less than 15 seconds. I'm actually talking. So let me do the last 2. There we go. So now we've got our properties, and we've got these little snippets here, and it says that there's some nullable properties in here, And so if we see the potential fix, we can declare this as a nullable field. Now this is new to C sharp, to dot to C sharp, I think 8 or 9, whichever one we're on. Strings are types that can be null anyway, but you can declare it as nullable like this. And nullable means that it can be empty, not having anything in it. So I'll just do that so that those little squigglies can go away. Okay, there we go. And decimals are a number, so it's always going to have a value of at least a 0. So we've got a model right there. Next thing we need to do is if we start kind of looking around in here, what we got going on here. We got our app settings. We've got our weather forecast API over our weather forecast over here. And so if we look in our Swagger doc, this forecast is this weather forecast class. So there's a class in here somewhere called weather forecast. It's called record here. And so instead of it being weather forecast, now what we're going to do is we're going to create something called, it's not going to be weather forecast. It's going to be our new author models here. Okay, so I'm going to come in here, say var authors equals an enumerable. Actually, let's do it this way. I'll just do it this way. New equals. I'm going to do it that way. I'll do it an array. And actually, I can use. I'm kind of jumping around here. Let me go over to Dapper real quick. There's a Dapper tutorial over here, and I've done Dapper on here before. So what we can do is if we go over to Dapper, we can see we can create a new connection. We have to create a connection with our database. Okay, so we can do that one or two ways. And I don't really want to do that in this program class because that's, doing a lot of heavy lifting here. Let me undo this here. Somebody's texting me here. Let's see what's going on here. Just a minute, you all. All right, so I'm back here. Okay, so so um, what we're gonna do is we've gone ahead and we've put Dapper. Here's an example of how to use Dapper. So we, like we said, we have our data in our database, in our table, in our database. So we've gone ahead and we've created a connection to Dapper. And what we need to do now is we need to make a new SQL connection. Okay. Oop, not there. Right here. So let's make sure. Let's stop our API here. It's not running actually. Let me make sure. Okay, there we go. So let's just Google Dapper API on .NET Core Web Dapper on .NET Core Web API. There we go. We need an example of how we're going to do this. Okay. So this is how you would do one for an API. So these are the things that we're going to need. I knew I was going to need some other stuff here. Unfortunately, we are going to need the Entity Framework Core NuGet package. So let's go back to our NuGet packages. Sorry, Mike. And we're going to need this one right here. So, and it may have changed, but this, because I know this is an older way to do this. I don't think we need that SQL Server. We've got the client. I don't think we need these two. Design and task. Yeah, I don't think we need those other two. All right, so say okay. Say accept. All right, so those are in. So the next step we need to do is we need to create a get DB connection here, or we need to create a connection to our database here. Okay. And this probably isn't the best example to use, I don't think. Let's use an example that's a little bit more modern, more I guess that one is. Yep, there we go. API, there's Dapper. There we go. Okay, so in our JSON app settings.json here, we're going to have to create a new object for a connection string. Okay. Kind of like that we're doing here. So we're going to call it, so let's do it after this. And you see that it automatically puts one in there for us. And we're going to go ahead and call this default. And we've got our connection string that we saved off. Bam. There we go. So our connection string's in there now. So we can save that and we can close that because we're not going to need that anymore, I don't think. All right, the next step we're going to use, we've already created our database table. Okay. We're not going to do a stored procedure like they're doing here. Let's come over here. And we're going to have to cut out some of our code here that is doing some of the redirection stuff, and we're going to cut out some of this stuff here. Okay, because we don't have this weather forecast anymore that we're going to be using here. But we're not going to do that quite yet. So we're going to create a new interface class. So let's come over here like he did before. New folder, we're going to call it services. Actually, let's call it DAO for data access. Okay. And under there, we're gonna create an interface class. Add a new class, and it's gonna be a class first here, and we're gonna call this DAO. Just call it data access. Okay. And what this data access is going to do is it's going to allow us to interact with our database. We're going to copy all of this stuff here and just throw it up in there. Okay. We'll come back to the interface in a minute here. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create the interaction stuff now. So this eye configuration, we're going to need this. So we're actually going to need this Dapper. Yeah, let's just grab all of this stuff right here. Okay. Oop. Yeah, let's copy that, paste that. We don't need namespace Dapper though. Okay, there we go. And where's that Dapper at? Where's that at? I guess we could find all. The entire solution. It's in there twice. Oh, I got it in there twice. Okay, let me get rid of this one right here. There we go. Save that now. All right. Now what we need to do is we're going to create a class in here, and it's already there. Eventually we're going to inherit from this interface here, but we're not going to do that quite yet because that's what he's doing up here. Okay, basically what he's doing is he's making two methods to execute his store procedure or to get all the records. Okay, and this one right here is kind of like what we're going to do there. Okay, we're not going to do it quite yet. We're going to build it out in this side first, and then we'll create the interface once we have all of this. This is a slick way to do that too, that Visual Studio allows you to do. Okay, so let's go ahead and create our configuration. It's already in there, ready to go. And let's create our we have to create a constructor and set our configuration we're going to make this one an underscore. We're going to set this configuration equals configuration, because what's going to happen is when you create a new instance of the data access class, it's going to automatically run this constructor, and you have to pass in your configuration from where you're creating an object of your data access class. That'll come a little easier here in a minute. So we've got that. Then he's got two methods here. We're going to use this get all method here. But instead of doing what he's doing here, we're going to do this. We're going to say public, and we're going to say IEnumerable of our data model, which is right here. and it's going to be author model. And we're going to have to create a relationship. Right there. So now we can access our author model. And we're going to call this get authors. Okay. And it's telling us, hey, I need to return a list of authors. You're asking me to give you a list of authors, but I'm not returning anything yet. Well, we've got to do the logic here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new list of models. I'm going to call it var ret models equals new list of author model. So, and down here we'll put a try catch in here and try. We can handle our exception, do something with it. We're not going to throw an exception there. I'm going to handle it. And down here, we'll just say return ret models. Okay. Our little squiggly line goes away. Okay. So we're trucking here. So the reason why I have this try in here is because now I'm getting ready to start trying to do some really kind of connectivity kind of related things. And if my connection fails, I don't want to throw an exception. I want to handle it and say, hey, I had an issue. I don't want to kill my program from running. So I'm going to say using DB connection, and call it DB connection, or just call it con, equals new DB connection, new SQL connection. And if you don't have the NuGet package that you need, it says, okay, I need to have system.data.client, SQL client. Let's see, what am I missing here? System.data. SQL connection. Doesn't like something. I'm missing a NuGet package somewhere here. Oh, that's why. I need to have a NuGet package from system.data.data client. I need to have this one right. SQL client right here. System.data.SQL client. So, do I not have that package? So let's go to manage NuGet packages and say system, go browse, data, SQL client right there, and install that one right there. Say okay, I accept, and I can close that now. So now I should have access to do that. Yeah, there we go. And I'm going to pass in the configuration. Get connection string, and it's going to be default right there. Put it there. And make sure I don't have too many 1. I'm looking at my parens here. I have 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I'm missing a paren. There we go. Okay, so now what I need to do is I need to come down here, and I've got this configuration for my data string here. And then I'm going to have another using in here. So command, create command. That's not right. When in doubt, you can always look at what you did too. Let me go to my repo here. Do I have it in there? Go to there, go to there, go to there, there, there. Where's my DAO? I'm missing a. Should be in here. Live sessions. There it is. That's what I'm looking for. This is my access class. Edit with Notepad++. See what I did here. Not now. Not now, yo. Oh, that's using that. Okay. Minimize that there. I know in one of these I did a I did a Dapper connection. Just can't remember which one it was. Is it this one here? No, it's not this one. Which one did I do that one in, Alex? I don't think it was that one. Anyway, we can do what we gotta do here. Okay, so alright, so here's our new connection. And then we need to open here our connection. And then we need to say using this command, create command, not create command. We need to look at the way Dapper's using it. Put my leg up here. Okay, so let's go back to our Dapper here. New SQL connection. Right there. We open. Actually, I need to do connection string. And then I need to say using commands. It's not that. Is it query? There we go. So what we can do, well, let's just test this first and see if we can actually open a connection here. Get authors there. I'm just gonna throw it in here. Let's see, what did I call that? Now I've got to create my connection to I have to create my connection to Dapper with that. So we got our connection, blah blah blah, and then in here we would say con.execute query. I think it's query. Yeah, and it's gonna be author model. This. And then in there goes our actual SQL statement that we would use. And so we take our SQL statement here. And ID, was it ID, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so then there. I'm going to say select from, and it's got to be our database name and our table name from authors. It's going to actually be this query here. So this right here. So there's our SQL. Our SQL goes in here. And we're going to say ret models equals what comes back from our query dot to list. Okay. Got that situated. And then we need a way to call this. So this is where the interface comes in. So I'm just going to create the interface right in this file. We're going to say interface. And we're going to call it iDataAccess. Right here. And then we have our enumerable right here. That's the only one we've got so far. Okay. Then over here, I just want to call it just to see what it's going to look like. So I'm going to create a using up here somewhere. Actually, close this here. Open this up. Where's my startup? This looks very different from the other one that I've been using here. So when in doubt, you can always just start this and start to debug through the code and see where stuff is being called, right? Let me not ask that again. So it should start right here. Hit F11, F10, F10, F10. It is that. I'll use Swagger. Use HTTPS. And I'm gonna do this var summaries, which is just an array of stuff there. And instead of doing this weather forecast, I'm going to do and this get is the operation. So I'm going to say authors. Okay. And I'm going to say, instead of get weather forecast, I'm going to say get authors. And let me say var equals. And I need to say new list of author model. And what I need to do is put my using on there. I'll actually not do it that way. I need to do a DAO or a oh, I need to make it's an interface. Duh. Okay, so I need to say var auth int equals I data access. No, actually, I data access. DAO equals new data access. I'm gonna make the little squiggly, so I need to do this and Alt Enter using that, and I need to pass in a configuration. So in here somewhere there should be a configuration somewhere. Connection string. Well, actually, what I need to do is this right here. Oop, leave that there. And say configuration, like so. And it doesn't like that. To iData access. Oh, here's why. We need to inherit from iData access. iData access. Like so. There we go. Now when I come over here, and let me not call that one configuration, call it config. Okay. That doesn't seem right to me. Config. Where's me config? Where's me config? The config is for the there we go. So I can come in here and config dot get connection string, and it would be default, something like that. String equals that, and then I would just pass in configuration, config right here. There we go. And then authors would be just DAO dot get authors, like so. And then down here, excuse me. There we go. So let's try and see how this works. I'm going to put a breakpoint here. Save this, rebuild it. Let's see if I get errors. I probably will. Nope, everything seemed to work there. Oh, no, that's not what I was trying to do. I'm going to debug it. So take that breakpoint off. Hit F5. Go down to where I need to get to. And so here's my author models right here. Here's my get right here. Okay. So let's come over here and do this right there. And let's see what happens when I do this. I don't think this is going to work personally. Say F10, 10. Let's see if that test string comes back with our connection string, and it does not. So we're gonna have an issue there. So let's check this over here. Make sure we've got it right. Default connection strings. So why is that not working here? Goes configuration manager. Try it out. Execute. Come back over here. 10. What is this? So our configuration manager we're missing something here somewhere. I might be missing a package here. Is it that stupid configuration thing? Yeah, there's a few got Dapper. Affinity Framework Design. I didn't think I needed that one, but I don't think I needed this one, but guess we do. Let's see if I can get to it now. Run this now again. Make that a little smaller. And then say try it out. Say execute. Let's see what happens here. Sources, count, results, view. Yeah, it's not reading the connection string key. Yeah, it's like it's not seeing the connection string key. There's another piece of configuration I have to do here, so I'm missing something here. But let me see. Let's just do some research here. Dapper.NET Core configuration. Connection strings. Do I have it as connection string? No. We'll call it default connection. I'm about to change it over here to that. Config, got that, DB connector, where you at, bad boy? Where's that connection, the configuration at? I'm missing a piece that connects the configuration to yeah, right there. Oh, I see why. I think I see why. Okay. I probably don't need to have in my data access. Why do I have that there? There's a connector. Connection. Let's just step into it and see what happens here. I'm gonna get an error. Okay. 11. Because this connection string is blank. I'm gonna get an error right here. Yep. Why is it that there? Well, here's what I can do. Just to be on the, I can do it this way, just real quick. Just for the sake of time, real quick, because I don't want to bore everybody. I'm just gonna throw the connection string in there instead of doing it this way, like that. That will definitely allow me to connect to the database there. So I say try it out, execute, back over, 5 over there. Now I'm connected to the actual database. So let's see what happens when I do this. So I've got my models over here, and here's my data right here. Here's my query. So I've got a little bit of tinkering around to do. And if I hit F5 here, let's see what comes back over here. Okay, so here's my Here's my return right here. So I've got my API working now in a way. Kind of had to jimmy rig it. Here's the request URL. So I can come over to Postman, and I'm just gonna assume you've downloaded Postman. So I can open up Postman here. And I'm gonna come over here to Postman. And let me clear this one out, delete this one. Nope. I'm gonna create a new, I'm gonna come into collections. I'm gonna press this little plus here. And I can call this collection what I want to call it. I'm gonna call it Postman API testing. Okay. So then I drop this little menu down and say add a request, and it's a get, because that get matches what we see over here in our Swagger operation. I can paste in the URL, but then what I need to do is I need to come over to body, say raw, change this from text to JSON, and say send. And you see that it steps into my code right here. So I'm actually hitting my API. If I hit 5, I should be able to come over to Postman, and you see I've got results coming back from my API right here. And these are all of the authors here. You can see that it's got the price, it's in the right order. So in our query, the third person should be McFeather Stearns, or the second person should be McFeather Stearns. And here's McFeather Stearns right here. And we should have 0. The last one that we should have should be $2.99 right here. We have no null prices in here, so no free books. So this is how you would test an API using Postman. I know we did a little bit of kind of error checking and stuff, but I've been on for a little while here. But yeah, so you can develop an API, create your table, develop your API over here, and you can test your API outside of your code by using Postman. So hopefully you learned something. I was kind of all over the place. It's been a while since I've made a live stream, so this was not planned. So like, comment, share, subscribe. I will post this code on my GitHub that's out there. And yeah, hopefully this finds you well. Have a blessed evening. Don't forget to set your clock ahead an hour, so you're going to lose an hour of sleep. So peace. God bless.